All right, let's get into it, man. Jagged Alliance 3 is fantastic. Let me tell you, I grew up playing Jagged Alliance 2 when I was, super young. Didn't really know much about PC gaming at the time, but it really captured something for me at the time. Uh, Games like XCOM, Fallout 1, Fallout 2, these turn-based games that required, forethought and strategy. And you know, I've played every genre since. I've played FPS shooters, uh, I've played RPGs, MMOs, but there's something about this genre that really captures my attention, and I'm glad they finally made a Jagged Alliance that's good. Because let's be honest, the last couple weren't that great, and I'm just glad to see that it's done right. Mechanics wise, it's turn based combat. It's slower, it's more methodical. There's different body parts you can aim at when you're in combat. You can go for the headshot, or if the statistics and the situation calls for it, you could even you know you could shoot them in their arms, which would in turn make them less accurate. You can shoot them in their leg to slow them down. You can shoot them in the groin to like suppress them for the round, or for the next round, I should say. Uh, they brought back a lot of the same mercenaries from the last games, which I really appreciate. And it's a lot of fun, man. And I mean, the world the world is also great. You get dropped in, you go town to town, area to area. There's little hidden quests that you can do. You could have your mind set on capturing a mine, but on the way there, you find someone who's in trouble, and you can help them, or you can even side with the enemy in certain situations. And once you're in the world and you've captured a few things, maybe you've got your first mine. There's other elements that you have to think about too now. Like, you're gonna have to train militia in that area to defend the mine, because the enemy's gonna come after you. They're gonna try to take that back. And that's another interesting part of the game too, is that you're always constantly being pressured by the enemy. They're gonna have outposts that are gonna be building up squads to send after you. And you can take those outposts too as well. So there's also that. On my second playthrough, I think that I went straight for mines, and then I went for the outposts surrounding those mines to make my life easier. But even then, there's outposts, you know, all over the place. And some of them are definitely a lot harder to get to, and a lot harder to manage, depending on how based your squad is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I think it's definitely a game you should consider. Definitely if you're a turn-based fan like myself, or even if you're not, this is the best game to get into. Honestly, it's a whole lot of fun. It's got a lot of elements to it. The RPG elements are great. The quests are fantastic. On my first playthrough, I was trying to do every quest possible. After I realized that there's so many to partake in. And I'm sitting in these situations where it's telling me that the quest that I'm gonna do is gonna have consequences for the whole campaign. And you have to decide you know how to handle those decisions. In my second playthrough, I you know I was able to I understood the world a little bit better, so I took different directions. I focused on certain things. I discovered more about the world. I made different decisions, and it felt like a new game, right? Uh, the management of the squads feels really nice. You have to make sure you have the money, and you're investing in these mercenaries for up to 14 days, and you have to pay them. And there's relationships between mercenaries that you'll find. There's certain penalties for situations, like if there's squad mates that are friends and one of them dies, the other one's gonna get mad at you. You know, he might leave the squad. Uh, yeah, man, I really enjoy this type of game. Like I said, I've played every genre possible, and I appreciate when a gaming company makes a game for its target audience as opposed to, you know, reaching out with a wider net and trying to get everyone's attention. I like these niche games, you know what I mean? And if you're a fan of turn-based combat, if you're a fan of, you know, XCOM, if you're a fan of other turn-based games, I feel like you're really going to enjoy this one. And I'm definitely enjoying it. I plan on, you know, doing a playthrough with no snipers, no sniper rifles, and you know that brings me to my my critique about the game, right? So the enemies, they kind of just bum rush you, and it's easy to set up traps where, you know, you put your enemies, or you put your squad in a corner of the map, and you know you just bait them, you just pull them, bait and hook, or bait and switch, whatever you want to call it. So you know, I wanna do a playthrough with no snipers and see how fun that is. Uh, and the game's still fairly fresh, you know what I mean? And there's still so much room for growth. And I'm not saying that just from the game developers, if they decide to make DLC or expand on the game, but the modding community uh, is very passionate. There's so many mods already out, and we don't even have uh, the proper modding tools that are like the official tools, and that adds so much, you know, that adds so much replayability because now you have access to these mods that could change the game up. For example, when you're capturing mines in the game, you know, there's a chance that they will run out, and that is a random, it could be a random time, but there's mods where you can actually make the mines infinite, or you could get a mod that uh, allows you to build your own mine, and it just adds an extra layer. It's super fun to strategize and plan out your playthrough. There's different settings, you know, you can go in where it saves every time you make a move. Any negative or positive situation, it's just going to save the game for you, and you're not going to be able to go back. Now, of course, you can do the opposite where you can just save it as much as you want. But yeah, man, I'm just trying to keep this short and sweet, you know, let you know what I think about the game. It's actually inspired me to, you know, make a review. Usually I'm the one that watches reviews, but I just wanted to make this video, you know, show it to my friends that like to play video games, show it to my dad, who I know is gonna enjoy watching and hearing about one of his favorite games of all time. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm gonna keep it moving. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.